All right, so this is gonna be a video, like series, a video of what happens behind the curtain in devaluation stage. The devaluation phase, if you are with anybody from the toxic uh, people or cluster B personality disorder, narcissist, covert narcissist, borderline bipolar, psychopaths, histrionic. It doesn't matter if they're full blown or just straight, or where in the spectrum they are. If you're dealing with a person that is from the cluster B personality disorder devaluation stage, it's inevitable. It has nothing to do with what you did or what you said. It has all about to do with them. Um, of course, if they just have strong traits of any of the personality disorders, it's not going to be as devastating for you as it was for some of us with very experienced cluster B people. um, but yeah, it's something that you are going to go through. And I have been in therapy, and I have been reading, or I started therapy in 2012 was when I really started reading about what was going on. Until this day, I read. I do consider myself to be completely out of Crazyville, and I do feel that I recovered. I went through many stages, and I am confident to say that I that past that I had does not control my life anymore. But in all these years, so it's 4.5 years almost, uh, I have never ever seen or read a story that included the love bombing or the idealization stage or the marriage proposal after the first month and all, the gifts, the surprises, the travels, the traveling, the gifts. And for any person who has been through that, they did get a devaluation stage and discard at some point. There is no there. I have not come across anybody who said, "Well, all these gifts, all these words of you're my soulmate, and all that experience, all the you're the best person ever, um, just lasted forever." I've never met anybody, and if you're one of these people out there, I am so glad for you. I would like to meet you because no, um, it's a story that never happens. So what happened, in my opinion, in and just once again, it's very heavily researched and studied, but it's my opinion only. Anybody from cluster B personality disorders, they created a script in their head. They found something in you that they thought it's gonna be useful to them, that you were gonna make them have some kind of a life, happy, exciting, calm, relaxed, with money. They decided you can give them something, and that's why they started giving back. The more they thought you can give, the more they're going to give back, for a period of time, though. um, you know uh, they're going to lure you. They're going to become an extension of you. Everything they're going to say, it's going to be a mimic of what you're doing at the beginning. So they can keep up with that just for a period of time. They can't go on and on and on, and they get bored, or real life hits, meaning, oh, we have a water bill to pay, and guess what, it's actually every month. And that reality check with them, it doesn't work very well on their emotions, um, or on their anger hiding technique. So the more reality checks they have, the more boring life it's gonna become with you. And it doesn't matter what you do, or what are you about to do, and what you give, or how much more you're gonna give. Once they're bored, it's because the script in their head didn't match. And once you don't match that script, because remember, cluster B people, they're either black or white. There is nothing in the middle. So if you didn't match the script, you're an enemy. You are somebody who betrays them. You are somebody who lied to them or used them, or you were representing yourself as something that you're not. And that's the step in which you start to proving yourself, being who you are. Meaning, when you're told you betrayed me because I thought you can do this, this, and this, you're like, but no, I did most of it. And when you're told it's because you don't love me, and you're like, no, 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 I love you. And that's the introduction of the beginning of your end. That's really when you're gonna uh, become the process of becoming someone else, and hopefully you become someone better by the end of your story with an arc or a borderline bipolar. So anyway, gaslighting, projection, those are things that are gonna be happening to you on daily basis, sometimes all day long. You're gonna have days that things are gonna look good, and then days that it's like, what? You're gonna be insulted in such a way that you won't believe it, and you won't understand why. You're gonna start asking for forgiveness, or apologizing for things that you never did. What happened to me was that I saw, actually, he had some kind of a emotional problem, but I thought it was a depression. I started with excuses. Well, he doesn't have a job. He doesn't, I came up with 1,000 excuses to cover his behavior. And what I did was to focus in helping him, which of course, not only it was not recognized, it was like twisted and thrown back at me as something very evil that I was doing. So I, by just being constantly reading, researching, trying to please him, trying to explain or help him do the next step in him doing better, I just, my persona just stopped existing. As a matter of fact, to a degree that my friends would ask me, aren't you going to go shopping? Because I literally had two pairs of black pants, two pairs of black tanks. I was working with that, and a jacket, and that was it. And my um, underwear, of course, that it was all I was using, and that was for good 2 years or so. Like, my friends would, for birthdays, they would give me the gift would be clothing with some kind of different color. Um, so yeah, what we go through, and if you're with a covered narcissist, you would not know that you've been through abuse for a long time, for a long, long time. So gaslighting, I'll do a separate video, because I think once you decide to walk out of the relationship, gaslighting, it's a very helpful tool for us to know what they are after, and their truth. Um, you're gonna come across in the devaluation stage so many lies that your head, it's gonna like explode. You would not believe that you fell in love with this person. and you swore it was the most amazing human being ever, and then you see every single proof in front of you that this is a con artist, and your brain cannot understand and believe it. So what happens is that then we start looking for excuses about their lies, and minimum um, actions from them to make us believe we're wrong. Like we are gonna sabotage ourselves. That's at least the first 2 3 times of devaluation. This is a stage in which you are going to become a professional detective. You're just gonna be so good, all of us. And as always, I thought I was original, but no, I'm not authentic. All of us become detectives. In my case, it was because I was blamed for things not that I didn't do, not that it never crossed my mind to do, but it was him doing them. He did them, and to a degree, I started thinking I'm becoming crazy, just like all of us. And I started, like, I sat down in front of my computer once and pull all the conversation we had in Skype and just be like, look at this, you said this. And he would be like, yeah, nah, nah. He would not even look at it. It's like, well, that's what I felt then. And it was never enough. Then I started you know because he was actually using my computer and all his logins were in my computer. I started reading his chats and all the cheating and and I would be like, look at this. And that's when things are twisted into you're crazy. You wire it's not him lying or cheating that was the problem. It was my behavior was the problem. um and it's just so much that at some point we lose it. Why do we do this? Because we think that if this guy or girl loved us once, and we had this golden period, and they put the world in our in our world, they can do it again, and we're gonna you know, fight for that perfect dream and love. Um, I am one of these people out there who truly believes that actually we do it because we have something called complex post-traumatic syndrome of and it's something that we need to work on. I do believe in the neurological problem that we have, and I believe that the only way of approaching it and fixing it, it's neurologically. Although I did a lot of spiritual things, those were not the ones that really helped me. Those were not the ones that really uh, made a difference for me to say, oh wow, I finally I get it. Finally, I feel better. Those were just uh, certain. Some of them really worked for me, like yoga or meditating or Reiki. It did, but it was not what it solved my problem, or it's not what it gave me my strength back. It was, I'm gonna keep saying it. It was really many courses of the Spartan Life Coaching, and the first one was recover after narcissistic abuse or something like that. Highly recommended. And but you, like he says, that you have to do the work, and the work facing your own self, like your problems, because it's almost like we're so used to please others, help others, that it's easier for us to help the narc and accept what he does to us and continue helping him than helping ourselves. So for this Video one, because I'm gonna do several in the recovery or dealing with devaluation stage. I would say if you already have come across the decision to start recovering, um, by all means, life coaching or good therapist. You are not gonna do the right kind of recovery for yourself if you don't go through that. Do not put your recovery only in someone else's hands, meaning Reiki master or massage therapist. Those are all good. Uh, but you need to make sure you need to start doing exercises that are, professionally made for people to start uh, recognizing what's going on with us and approach that. Like, I believe that you need to do your own work, and anything external, it's it's just a help. And your own work has to be, at least at the beginning, guided by someone who has specialized in this kind of emotional abuse, and someone who has been broken by a cluster B personality disorder person, because otherwise they don't know what they're talking about. But my something that I used to do and I realized I later on that really helped me, because you're gonna be blamed so many times for things that you don't do, and that lying, etc., etc. I suggest you open your old um, photo albums, even Facebook, whatever. I don't know how long you've been with the person that is abusing you, but start staring at your pictures from before you started this relationship. And if you see a picture that you're with friends or on some kind of a party, try to remember that that particular day. Try to remember how your real friends described you before him coming in and telling you you are the worst thing ever. Try to remember how was your day going. Were you crazy? Were you an abusive person? I mean, before he came into your life, how many other people told you that you actually betrayed them before him? Many of us, and that's another thing of why therapists always talk about recovering from emotional abuse, is because if we don't do the right therapy, most likely we're going to end up with another abusive person, and and that's not okay. So that's why, please do therapy. But yeah, that's one thing I did, and I highly recommend it. Spend as many months or weeks you need in staring into your pictures, and start um, just remembering your life. If you want to start writing like a notebook or something and remembering your life, if you see a picture when your friend, 2 years before you met your narc or you got into a relationship with him, and you see this picture, just describe how was that day. What did you guys talk about? Did you laugh? Did you joke? How did you leave? Were you happy? What were your emotions? Remember that. And that's like a very long way, but it's a steady and sure way to bring you back to your reality. And you probably won't do it at the beginning, but that's another thing I suggest. Do not tell him what you're doing. Do not tell him that you're trying, or her, that you're trying to recover because you feel abused. They don't. First of all, they know you're abused. It was planned for you to be the way you are, and they don't care. So it's absolutely pointless to explain yourself. Okay, so I hope that was helpful, and I am about to make more videos with tips of how to recover and how to deal with the devaluation stage. I hope they're helpful, and I will see you next time.